Okay, this is round two. As much as I don't like having to do this, I'm redoing this because it turns out Hans assumed it was a certain shaft distance, and that was actually not the case. And he sent me the correct spacers, so I'm gonna remove this and put in the correct spacers. It's really tight, to the point where it doesn't feel right. It seems like almost like impossible. Not impossible, but it just doesn't feel right. Like way too tight. So I don't necessarily mind having to do this over again because I know it's hopefully going to feel correct and better, but it is a hassle nonetheless. Like almost everything in my life, I usually have to do twice to get it right. So anyways, hopefully this will go without too much difficulty. The interesting thing about the install was that the washers didn't fit on, and I had to almost, on the top one I had to actually shave the inner diameter, and on the bottom one I had to pop on using two different screwdrivers. And for the life of me, I didn't understand why, and I don't still understand exactly why it didn't just slip over. The diameters of the original washer and the new washers that Hans provided seemed to be the same, but for whatever reason it didn't pop on easily. And I don't know if that was because somehow I damaged the pin during the install, because the install was not easy. It was quite difficult, very tight. I'm at the extremes of these two pins, and anyways, that's what's causing it to be so tight. So I'm removing the E-clips and the washers. Again, like the washers, you can tell they're kind of bent because I had to really shove them in there. I'm really hoping this comes off easily. It was so difficult to. Oh, that's key. That is. Oh, that's so key. This thing is perfect for this. This is clip removers, panel clip removers. Oh, all right. That was so much easier than I thought it would be. All right. Okay, so this is what he sent me, the correct spacers and then new bushings. I had mentioned that I kind of mangled mine during the install, and you can tell it's somewhat damaged. I might leave these in here and then save those for later, but we'll see once I take this apart. Okay, these new ones are 13, the old ones are 16. Okay. Okay, there's a comparison of the two. Okay. Okay, I'm back in here. Gonna try to put this back on. Hopefully it'll go in a lot easier. I have my little plastic shims to help guide this process along. I think it was the top one that I would put on first, that was, and then I can angle it down. My recollection. Oh, much better. Much better. All right. Okay, so it's dark, I understand that, but this is my first drive after installing the short shifter with the shorter 13 mil spacer for the Hans short shifter. It's my first drive. Also, if you're following me, I also changed out the air temp sensor to the higher speed one, the Bosch one, or I guess they're both Bosch, but anyways, the higher speed one. So I'm kind of wondering if I can tell a difference there. So this is a cold start. Now, I have noticed that ever since I was playing around with my air fuel mixture along with the O2 sensor, I lowered my idle speed in addition to adjusting the potentiometer or the air fuel mixture on the MAF, the mass airflow whatever thing, and it doesn't start all that well, but I don't know, everything else seems to be fine. I can tell it's not as drastic of a difference as before, because what I had was the longer spacer, which was literally at the extreme of the space I think allowed, if that, of the two pins. So it was extremely hard to shift. So this feels a lot more natural, although the throw doesn't seem to be quite as short as the one I just had, but I'm okay with that, especially when this feels normal. So this feels good so far. So I'm pretty happy with it as it stands. A viewer had asked whether this looks too bunched up, this leather part. I haven't put that piece in yet. I'm gonna make sure everything is good to go before I do that. I don't think so. I like the shorter. I didn't like how long it looked. Once I kind of focused on that, I was like, man, that thing looks really tall. But this seems reasonable to me. So far so good. I actually do notice a difference with my RPMs. I think it has a lot to do with the air temp sensor. It seems to just drop and that's it. Before it used to kind of drop and hunt a little bit, but now it goes straight to kind of like what I was setting it at, which is I think 750 or so, and that's per the spec sheet, under 800. So before it would kind of hunt and then get there eventually, but now it just kind of gets right there, which is, I think, a good thing. I'm kind of glad about doing that upgrade. Anyways, first impressions, I want to say it feels fine, but I think I have to drive around a little bit more to really say, oh, I can tell a difference or not. I definitely, noticed the difference when I first put it in, because it was again at the extremes. But right now, just kind of, to be honest with you, it doesn't feel that much different. I know there is a difference, I just don't feel it as much. I mean, so overall, I would recommend it. I would recommend Hans. I mean, I would recommend his just because I have it, and as a whatever, independent inventor, small business owner, I'd like to support him. The product looks well made. It is made out of aluminum. I don't know if that's a plus or a minus. There are some other short shifters that said, they're made out of steel or whatever, and that's a benefit because it's stronger, but I don't know if that's something that you really need to have in this structure, because the boot itself is kind of rubbery. And in a way, it kind of isolates the vibration if there is any. I don't really feel too much. Again, Hans was really good about customer service. Like when I first contacted him, he was very responsive, sent out the product. And then when I had the issue of it being pretty tight, he was very responsive, and then made it right afterwards, even threw in some extra bushings or more bushings, because I had mentioned that I kind of mangled mine. And I think those are expensive. So he's probably, eating into his profits, to kind of make it right. So I appreciate that. So I would recommend him. And I'll probably, most likely, when I do like a clutch job, I think I will probably go with his other product, which is, I don't know what he calls it, but basically removes the front shaft. I don't know what it's called, but anyways, I might go with that because I'll be dropping the torque tube. So, you know, overall, I think it's a good upgrade. I wouldn't, let's just say it's like, you know, what do they call it? Like, it doesn't transform the car per se, but it makes a noticeable enough difference for it to be worth it. Anyways, I want to say that's about it. So, thumbs up. I'll take the better pictures of the lighting, or with better lighting, so that you can see what it looks like. Let's see if this guy stops. You gonna stop? And then I'll end the video.